Oda-sensei has finally crossed into forbidden territory. Yes, Colon's mother, Ripley, is a giant woman, while his father is regular human. How exactly did they create Colon? Of course, One Piece is a shonen manga, so we are unlikely to get detailed explanation about such matters. And speculating too much might feel inappropriate. However, the fact that Oda-sensei gave this backstory suggests that he must have at least considered that the nightly interactions between Ripley and her partner when crafting those characters. Yeah, in fact, as hinted in the SPS, with the relationship between the Flamingo and Violet, Oda-sensei likely has a deeper backstory in mind for his characters, even if it can be fully depicted in the shonen manga. So, in this video, I'll delve into the behind-the-scenes backstory of Ripley and her husband. Yeah, something that can't be shown in the shonen manga, but has been subtly hinted at by Oda-sensei. Yeah, I also believe this hints at the relationship between giants and humans in the world of One Piece. First, let's talk about the size of giants. The first giants introduced in One Piece, Dory and Brogy, are 22 meters and 21 meters tall, respectively. Female giants like Girth and Ripley are likely a bit smaller, probably around 20 meters tall. While there are some unusual large in the world of One Piece like Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom, the average citizens depicted are generally about the same size as Luffy. This means that, on average, giants are more than 10 times taller than humans, ordinary humans. If we scale that proportionally, every part of their body would also be about 10 times larger. Yeah, even the parts you are imagining right now would be 10 times bigger. Anyway, comparing the size of Luffy and Ripley, it's clear that if human and the giants were to try to conceive a child, it would be undeniably challenging task. For the human male, it might feel like crawling into the sleeping bag. In Ripley and her husband's case, where the female is the giant, it might be possible. However, in couples where the male is the giant and the female is human, the physically logistics would seem extremely difficult. Perhaps methods like in vitro fertilization could be used. Yeah, I'm not sure. But even with the height difference like Oden almost 4 meters and Toki around 1.9 meters, there's already a significant size disparity. But that parent still seems plausible. By comparison, a giant a human would face much greater challenges. But there's an even bigger, almost fatal issue when it comes to a human woman and a giant man having a child. Have you realized it yet? Childbirth would be nearly impossible. Unless the human woman had a special body, like being a Gomu Gomu no Mi user, like Luffy, she would physically survive giving birth to the half-giant baby. Interestingly, there have been hints that Girth is fond of humans. It's likely she finds them small and cute, similar to how Bibi reacted to Leo. However, there's also a possibility that she might consider having a child with a human man in the future. Perhaps the reason the female giants can develop romantic interest in human men is that biologically, the combination of giant women and ordinary men could potentially produce offspring. That said, what's fascinating about Colon is that, being a half-giant, he is the same size as other children. Giant children. This might imply that when the giant and the human have a child, the baby's size is influenced by the mother's body. This is an intriguing idea. I might even send this question to SBS, to see if Oda-sensei has any thoughts on it. By the way, there's a funny exchange in this scene. Luffy apologizes to Ripley after realizing he was sitting on her. She replies, "Ahaha, iyo, omoku mo nai shi." Haha, it's fine, you are not heavy. This probably reacts her experience with her husband, who has climbed on her many times. Yeah, the scene might even represent the perspective her husband has when he gets into bed with her. So far, we've talked about Ripley, a giant who falls in love with human. But what is the broader relationship between giants and human in the world One Piece? While the tension between fishmen and humans has been heavily emphasized, there hasn't been any mention of historical animosity between giants and humans as species. The closest example might be the giant warrior pirate who terrorized the world about 100 years ago. However, they were pirates, and there are no intention they had an agenda of revenge against the tiny human. In Japanese, chibi ningen. Still, there are some hints about strained ties between giants and the world government. For example, there were no giant marines before the interact connection through Carmel, in the Whole Cake Island flashback, and Sultan explicitly refused to send marines to Elbaf. These details suggest that the relationship between giants and the world government hasn't always been friendly. Moreover, the giants of Elbaf worship the sun god Nika. Nika is described as an ancient god that the celestial dragon refused to acknowledge. Stories about Nika still linger across the world, and while it's unclear if it's the same deity, the sun god was also worshipped in Jaya 400 years ago. This shared belief suggests that there was once a time when giants and humans shared cultural ties. It's likely that during the Void Century, there was significant interaction between the two species. In the Japanese version, Clover refers to the ancient kingdom that existed 900 years ago as a 巨大な王国, vast kingdom. While this might metaphorically mean influential, a literal interpretation suggests it was physically vast. If we take the literal meaning, it raises the possibility that giants were involved in its founding or governance. There are also humans who carry the blood of the giants. The Buccaneer tribe. While they aren't as large as full-blooded giants, they are depicted as being much bigger than the regular humans and with significantly stronger arm strength. According to Saturn, they are a clan that once committed a great sin against the world. If we interpret this from the perspective of the current world government, it's highly likely that the Buccaneer tribe, Buccaneer clan, has some connection to the ancient kingdom that opposed the world government in the past. Although it's clear they carry giant blood, the exact relationship remains unclear. To properly analyze how the Buccaneer tribe come to be, we need to understand the origin of the giants themselves. Were the ancestor of the giants just humans, ancient giants, or a species of giants that existed from the beginning? It's a difficult question. All of these are possibilities. For instance, the ancient giant oars stood at 67 meters tall, about 3 times the size of the regular giant, and had distinct horns and prominent jaw. If the ancient giants interbred with humans, it would explain why modern giants are similar and appear more human-like compared to ancient giants. That said, ancient giants would have been significantly larger than even regular giants from a human perspective, about 30 times the size of average human. Considering that scale, the idea of physical relationship between ancient giants and humans seems nearly impossible. It would be like one of us attempting such an act with a 5 or 6 centimeter doll like this. It's impossible to do something with this kind of doll for us. Anyway, there's also a possibility that humans were originally humans. Many viewers of this channel have probably heard this theory before, because I explained too much time. But in Skypiea, Both of plants and animals have grown to giant size compared to when the verse was on the ground. This environment setting could hint at the origin of the giants. Yeah, especially since the purpose of this detail in the story remains unclear. It's possible that this will eventually ties into the explanation of the origin of the giants. Finally, let's talk about the role of giants in the grand story of One Piece. There are said to be villages of giants scattered across the sea of the One Piece world. But today, I'd like to focus on Elbaf, Warland. The giants of Elbaf are particularly notable for being depicted as a proud warriors. Yeah, their motto seems to be fight honorably without resorting to cavalry tactics. Yeah, like Mr. 3, Galdino. But why do they take such pride in battle in the first place? The answer lies in the word of Dory from the Little Garden. これは戦いの神、エルバフが下した審判だ。This is the judgment of the war god, Elbaf. Yeah, their pride in battle likely stems from their deep faith in their god. For the people of the One Piece world, belief in the god serves as a significant source of emotional support. And it seems the giants also needed such a foundation to rely on. The giants with their massive bodies possesses overwhelmingly greater physical strength than ordinary humans in the One Piece world. While their intelligence may not always surpass that of humans, it is roughly on par. Given these attributes, it wouldn't be surprising if they had once ruled the world. Why haven't the giants able to achieve the dominance over the world? The answer likely lies in the harshness of their environment and the challenges of their survival. Because of their massive size, giants require an enormous amount of food to sustain themselves. While the natural surroundings and wildlife near Elbaf are large enough to support them, such suitable environments are rare outside of special regions like Little Garden or the giant village in the West Blue where San Juan Wolf was born. Additionally, giants are vulnerable to extreme conditions. Giants like Oats and those on Punk Hazard died from freezing, and Sol would succumb to the cold as well if not for the fire from the Buster Call. These factors limited access to sufficient food and their susceptibility to nature's harshness make it difficult for giants to seize global dominance. In fact, their history likely includes the loss of many lives to these challenges. This is likely the reason for their worship of the sun god and their rituals of fasting to express gratitude for the sun. Faith in the sun became essential for their survival and has been passed down as a central element of their culture. For the giants, their belief in the god is not just a spiritual practice, but a vital part of their survival and identity. This deep history of faith is why they live with such pride in their god. It's also likely that the sun god inspires the creation of the other gods. One of these derived deity is the war god Elbaf. That said, the sun god Nika is also known as the warrior of liberation, so perhaps all the gods imagined by the giants were warriors in the same form. When Ripley learned about Luffy taking on Nika's appearance, she had this to say. エルバフの神話にあんな姿の戦士がいるんだ。ときめいちゃった。あたしら最後の戦士世代だから。There's a warrior in Elbaf's myth who looks like that. It's thrilling. We are the last generation of warriors after all. This suggests that the anti-warrior policy promoted by Harald in Elbaf may also be undermining their faith in the gods. If so, Harald's reform could be part of a larger government-backed plan to weaken the giants and gradually erode belief in the warrior of liberation, Nika. However, Harald has also appointed Sol, who brought the Ohara text to Elbaf as a history teacher. This complicates things, making it difficult to say definitely what his ultimate goal is. Still, the fact that Ripley is part of the last warrior generation, took an interest in Luffy's sun god form suggests that the current curriculum in place like Wallace School might not even teach about Nika or the idea of liberation warriors. Regardless, these peace-minded giants are likely to play a vital role in the building future where humans and giants interact more meaningfully. While belief in Nika and their gods may fade, the next generation of giants could help create a world where such faith no longer needed. Yeah, one where giants and humans cooperate and coexist harmoniously. Until now, humans and giants have lived on separate islands in the Grand Line and other seas, limiting their interactions. However, after the Great War that Luffy will cause, there could be significant shift leading to more active exchanges and even the emergence of couple like Ripley and her human partner. That said, humans like Hilding, Loki, and Colon, who still take pride in their warrior heritage and their faith in Nika, will undoubtedly continue to exist. I believe a new era is coming where each giant can freely choose their own path and live their life as they see fit.